Hello, this is Mrs. Chavez. We're in Chapter 13 still, the Resurgence of Empire in East Asia, and this is the final section, Section 4. In early Korea, as in early Japan, different clans or tribes controlled different parts of the country. In 108 BCE, the Han Empire controlled much of Korea and established a military government there. Through the Chinese, the Koreans learned about such ideas as centralized government, Confucianism, Buddhism, and writing. During Han rule, the various Korean tribes began to gather together into federations. Eventually, these federations developed into three rival kingdoms. In the mid-600s, one of these kingdoms, the Silla, defeated the other kingdoms and drove out the Chinese and gained control of the whole Korean peninsula. Under Silla rule, Koreans built Buddhist monasteries and produced elegant stone and bronze sculptures. They also developed a writing system suitable for writing Korean phonetically, though they still used Chinese characters. The people of Southeast Asia that were least influenced by India were the Vietnamese. They were very influenced by the Chinese, though. They were located in the coastal region. If you look at the map here, just south of China, Vietnam fell under Chinese domination. Around 100 BCE, during the mighty Han Dynasty, China took northern Vietnam. When China's Tang Dynasty weakened in the early 900s, Vietnam managed to break away and became an independent kingdom known as Dai Viet in 939. The Vietnamese absorbed many of the Chinese cultural influences, including Buddhism and ideas about government. However, they also preserved a strong spirit of independence and kept their own cultural identity. Vietnamese women, for example, traditionally had more freedom and influence than their Chinese counterparts. Rulers of the Lý dynasty between 1009 and 1225 located their capital at Hanoi on the Red River Delta. They established a strong central government and they encouraged agriculture and trade, greatly improved road and river transportation. The changes made by the Lý continued to influence life in Vietnam long after they fell from power. The first historic mention of Japan comes from Chinese writings of the 1st century BCE. Japan at this time was not a united country, but instead hundreds of clans that controlled their own territories. Each clan worshipped its own nature gods and goddesses. In different parts of Japan, people honored thousands of local gods. Their varied customs and beliefs eventually combined to form Japan's earliest religion. In later times, this religion was called Shinto, meaning way of the gods. Shinto was based on respect for the forces of nature and on the worship of ancestors. Shinto worshippers believed in kami, divine spirits that dwelled in nature. Any unusual or especially beautiful tree, rock, waterfall, or mountain was considered the home of a kami. In the late 700s, the imperial court moved its capital from Nara to Heian, the modern Kyoto. Many of Japan's noble families also moved to Heian. Among the upper class in Heian was a highly refined court society. This era in Japanese history from 794 to 1185 is called the Heian period. Gentlemen and ladies of the courts filled their day with elaborate rituals and artistic pursuits. Rules dictated every aspect of court life: the length of swords, the color of official robes, the forms of a dress, even the number of skirts a woman could wear. Etiquette was extremely important. Laughing out loud in public, for example, was frowned upon, and everyone at court was expected to write poetry and to paint. The best accounts of Heian society come from the diaries, essays, and novels written by women of the court. One of the finest writers of the period was Lady Murasaki Shikubu. Lady Murasaki, 11th century masterpiece, The Tale of Genji, is an account of the life of a prince in the imperial court. This long prose narrative is considered the world's actually first novel. During the late 1100s, Japan's two most powerful clans fought for power. After almost 30 years of war, the Minamoto family emerged victorious. In 1192, the emperor gave a Minamoto leader named Yoritomo the title of shogun, or supreme general of the emperor's army. In effect, the shogun had the powers of a military dictator. Following tradition, the emperor still reigned from Kyoto, and Kyoto was rebuilt on the ruins of Heian, which had been destroyed in a war. However, the real center of power was at the shogun's military headquarters at Kamakura. The 1200s are known in Japanese history as the Kamakura Shogunate. The pattern of government in which shoguns ruled through puppet emperors lasted in Japan until 1868. The Kamakura shoguns were strong enough to turn back the 2 naval invasions sent by the great Mongol ruler Kublai Khan in 1274 and 1281. However, the Japanese victory over the Mongols drained the shogun's treasury. Loyal samurai were bitter when the government failed to pay them. The Kamakura shoguns lost prestige and power. Samurai attached themselves more closely to their local lords, who soon fought one another as fiercely as they fought the Mongols. Although feudal Japan no longer courted contact with China, it would continue to absorb Chinese ideas and shape them into the Japanese way. This is the end of chapter 13. We'll get moving on to chapter 14 next.